round two. I think that dynamic style of passing will work on a lot of guard players, but I don't think someone of Levi's caliber is going to be scared of someone who's just like cannonball flopping on top of him. Right? It's just, he's gonna have frames, he's gonna ride it, and then he'll not get past. Again, going for a De La Hiva. Right, Kade driving weight in. So I really do think the counter to this is if his weight is really in, you have to install frames, right? Like it would be wrong for Levi to abandon this post here. If Kade's weight was down, we can do that correlation where you push their weight and their weight that's in their butt exceeds the line of their heels, and then their hips have to rise to compensate. But in this situation, I think his weight is actually like dead center on top of Levi, so you can't really push a guy who's like sitting on top of you. So I think he goes K guard. Yeah, he goes K hook, which gets him some space. And then Kade has to exit, right? Because you can't just, it's an awkward position to blast through. Looking for a darts or something, but, Levi's just going to have frames. He's getting his grips. I'm not in love with that because you can see here when Levi has his 2-on-1. Okay, well, the ref's in the way. Like, yes, his pass box is closed, right? The ref's in the way, but his elbows are within this space where his armpit and his hip line are both closed. So he's not technically in too much danger, but I don't like this because there's no frames, right? Like this is not connected. This is not connected. Like there's opportunities for the guy on top to just like absolutely whip his arm if he's way stronger than you and kind of spin you and get angles and flank. He sits down. Okay. Right. Great shin pin, but it's just awkward. I think he's just feeling him out. All right, catches K guard. That's sick. And then Kade does a really good job of sitting his weight back. So I am not in love with this position from Levi's perspective, just because like when they really sit their weight back, it's really difficult to deal with, right? The only thing Levi has is connection to Kade's left leg, but he has no frames. Like there's nothing stopping his butt from just driving into your face, which is really frustrating to deal with. And there are definitely ways to play K guard with more frames, but here this is bad. Like this feels really bad. He flips it over into Matrix, saves him. Goes for a leg attack, and then I think he kind of comes out on top. But then Kade stands up, and then Levi's not going to wrestle, so he sits back down. Right, again, De La Hiva, same thing, elbow wedge, locking the foot in place. Kade kind of rising up. So here, this is actually a perfect situation for what Mikey calls tilt and tuck. When they give their weight on the top leg, it means that it's light. So if Levi lets go of this, it might be tough because this guy's also driving in overhead. The real answer, I think, for overhead weight like this is to balloon sweep them over the top. It's a little hard to do in no-gi because you don't have the collar to grab, right? So you don't have the same amount of control on this guy's like shoulders and neck and posture. So, it might be the case that he's feeling so much pressure here that he doesn't want to go for this. But I know what Mikey would do is he would use his left hand to push this foot into his into basically his taint, right? And then use that to capitalize off of locking his foot in between his legs and then flanking. He calls this tilt and tuck. You can definitely find this online somewhere. But I think that's a really useful answer for when they have their leg driving up onto here. You can also knee torque. If Levi actually punched this hand underneath this ankle and then uses right hand to frame this knee, because all the weight is on this hamstring right now, you have articulation of the guard passer's front knee. Okay, that I hate. Um, right? Look how open this is, right? This pass box is wide open. That pass box is also open. You could kind of get away with this because of how far it is, but I hate the fact that this leg is extending out to make a connection and that this arm is just wide out open, right? Because this pass box is open and, you know, theoretically, someone could just blast through and occupy that space and you get past. If you watch like Mikey, pass box is literally almost always closed, like 99.99% of the time. That means the elbow is tucked here, the knee is up into this armpit. And the way that he recenters is either using like a meow style shrimp, where they keep this knee in this armpit and they put these toes on the mat, and that's how he uses to recenter. Or you can use your elbow, your right elbow can be used to base without opening up this space. But, you know, who am I to critique Levi? Right? Like that, right? Space is open, right? K's gonna blast through. And like kind of close, right? These two frames are saving him, right? But this space, I feel like you should just never have it open. See, that I hate too. Look at this. His arms just go into a T pose like this. You don't. I don't think you need to do this, right? Maybe it's. I think it's bad practice, right? I think he could have gotten the same amount of mobility to turn if he just posted his elbow but kept his hand and forearm inside this space, right? Because this is just wide open right now, and everyone does this. Most guard players do this. Right. So good leg control, nice frame. Always have a frame. Kind of slips out. And here, I actually think Cade was pretty close to passing, right? He pins the bottom leg and he has his knee wedge in, which means that this bottom pass box is open, right? Levi is basically using his arms to frame the upper body. It's probably easier now that Cade's weight is here to get this foot back in or to at least circle it, but it's still tough, right? Against a good guy. And then Cade, I think, posts up and does like a tripod style, right? This is so bad. This is so bad. This pin and also shoelaces down makes this really heavy. Now, it's still hard because Levi has his entire left two limbs to frame things off, but I think this is probably the best technical pass that I've seen from Cade, where he's deleting these two frames in a legitimate way. Both his legs are involved, right? It's just his best shot, I think. He doesn't get the pass, he actually backs out. I don't know what he's feeling, I don't know what he's thinking. These are my shitty thoughts, so right? Sinks into again, into a split squat, does the row drag, drive, drive, drive. I don't think that's gonna cut it. Right? Again, you can't you you can't blast through. Like this is framing your hip, you know? Like he has such a strong position with his left two limbs right now that even if you did row drag and like try to flank it, it'd be tough. Right? He drives his hips in. His hips are trying to negate that. This is actually getting kind of close. Nice little bolo threat, right? What Cade does not want is to give back exposure on this side. Right? Flop. I don't think it's gonna work against someone with good frames. You just end up in these weird positions. Toe hold, is it real? On me, yeah. On Levi, probably not. So something Levi's doing really well right now is he's posting up on his shoulder. That's the other thing. I think a lot of people invert and they think I just need to get this foot in between their legs, but then they're like crumpled like a crouton. So this shoulder post, really strong position. Always go for like a strong spine position. And then I think the round just ends there.